All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. And this video is not for any monetary gain. It is explicitly for the reasons stipulated in the Copyright Act of 1976 under Section 107.
White man involved in killing 9 black people, elected governor of South Carolina. On November 4th, 1890, Benjamin Ryan Tillman was elected governor of South Carolina. An outspoken white supremacist, Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman built his political career on white supremacy, advocating for violence against black voters and blocking educational opportunities for black people. Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman believed that educating black people would only lead to trouble. When you educate a Negro, you educate a candidate for the penitentiary or spoil a good field hand. Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman's political career began after his involvement in the 1876 Hamburg massacre, where white men rioted and killed 9 people in a predominantly black town in South Carolina. During his campaign for governor, Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman promised to keep the state's black population in a position of permanent inferiority. Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman emphasized white supremacy and the revocation of black Americans' rights. Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman served 2 terms as governor and played a critical role in the 1895 South Carolina Constitutional Convention. The revised constitution disenfranchised black voters and served as a model for other southern states. After his governorship, Mr. Benjamin Ryan Tillman was elected U.S. Senator from South Carolina and served for 24 years. Throughout his tenure, he staunchly opposed black equality and women's suffrage. Benjamin Ryan Tillman's philosophy of white supremacy helped shape an era of oppression and abuse of black Americans throughout the South. A statue honoring him still stands on the grounds of South Carolina's state capitol.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites for the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone. And once again, we're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rahakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the 4 corners of the earth that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we're back here again with another installment of our camp series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. And today's article comes from one of our sources, EJI, which means Equality Justice Initiative. All right, we will put a link to this article in the description box as well as the comments of the video. Okay, today's subject involves, as titled on the screen, says a white man involved in killing 9 black people elected governor of South Carolina. Okay, this is the subject for today. However, before we get into the subject itself and the article itself, we have our opening scripture.
This is Obadiah, verse 10. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Khan, this is talking to Esau Edom, who is the wicked, according to Malachi 1 and 4, and the so-called white man of today. He's not actually white, he is red, okay? As described in Genesis 25 and 25. All right, that's his nation of people. Now, it's not always about skin color, because you know the parables of the wheats and the tares. Okay, you have a lot of chocolate-covered Edomites, okay, and a lot of red Israelites. Okay, that's just the way it works. Okay, it's always about the seed of the father, according to Numbers 1 and 18. Whatever the father is, that's what the child is. It is the father that established the nationality. Okay, so this is talking about Esau Edom, okay, and his violence against Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those of the seed of Jacob scattered abroad. Okay, it says that shame shall cover them, and this is one of, we're on en route to 160 videos. Okay, and barely scratched the surface of everything that this devil has done to us. All right, now he has a problem with all of his history being exposed, and the world is truly realizing who the real devil is in this world. Okay, and it says, like that shame is covering it, and they don't like it. That's why they're trying to get rid of history now. Bringing back the old statues, scratching Jake out of the history books. All right, but it's not going to happen. All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, just back up what you were saying. It's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 8. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, who the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. All right, so hey, I brought that up to back up, the point that the brother was making. All right, that the wicked is being revealed at this current point in time, being Esau Edom, man. Mm-hmm. All right, starting with you Amalekites, man. All right, hey, the Lord is bringing out all this wickedness that you've been doing up until this current point in time through the mouth of his prophets, man. Mm-hmm. All right, there's nothing that's going uncovered anymore, man. Mm-hmm. All right, people are starting to realize that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the devil, man. All right, he's the wicked that the scriptures speak about, man. All right.
Yeah, like you said, the spirit of his mouth again is the prophets. So, and that's where we're out here week in and week out on highways and byways, and our video epistles, exposing this devil, and bringing out the end time prophecy, which we know end time prophecy is Yahweh Shai returning, to a world ruled by Edom to save his people. All right. Back to that Obadiah 10, it says, shame shall cover him, and he shall be cut off forever. So yeah, you're going to be cut off forever, out of existence. All right. When the Lord comes back, establishes his kingdom, you're going to have that 1,000 years of slavery, under our rulership, the rulership of the Israelites. Okay, twice as long and twice as hard, but we're going to do it in righteousness. We're going to be doing the foul stuff that you're doing, like ripping babies out of the mother's womb, buck breaking. Everything will be according to the law that's in the scriptures. You all want to call yourselves Christians, you don't understand the law that's in the Bible and how we're going to deal with you. All right, and so yeah, so after that's done, you're going to be put out of existence, never to rise again, according to Isaiah 14, 21 and 22. Chapter 14. Somebody want to grab that?
No, I got you. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers.
Yes, so right there, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. You descendants of Esau Edom are going to have to pay what your forefathers did. Because through the scriptures, we know that everyone returns every third and fourth generation. So you are your ancestors. All right.
It says that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
God, that you will never be in rulership again, ever, when the Lord comes back. Never be in rulership again. All right.
It says, for I rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and the nephew, said the Lord Yahweh Shai.
God, that is the entire seed line of Esau Edom. Okay. For the iniquity of the father, he says he cut off the name, the remnant, what's left over, the nephew and son, you out of here for good. The world will never have to deal with you again after those 1,000 years, and will forever be in peace. Okay? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever."
God. You go ahead.
Yeah, man. So, Esau, Edom, hey, the Lord is not gonna, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai remembers everything that Esau and Edom, or that the nation of Esau, Edom has did to the Israelites, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and just like how we're bringing out information on how Esau, Edom's perpetual hatred, is being shown. Or the scriptures is condemning Esau for that, man.
Mm-hmm.
It said because he did pursue his brother with the sword, man. All right, because ultimately Esau, Edom knows that the birthright was given over to who? Jacob, man. All right, Esau, he's trying to obtain the blessing by what? By trying to exterminate the nation of Israel, man. All right, by what? By the force of the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at how just look at how our people are persecuted here in America, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just here in America, but throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Just see how just look at how this system was established, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just off of the blood and persecution and hatred, okay, of the so-called black, so-called Latino, so-called Native American peoples, man. All right, which are the true biblical Israelites. All right. It says, "And did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever." All right, and the scriptures talks about how Esau, Edom has a everlasting, a perpetual hatred. All right, for Jacob, man, and it's all because of the birthright, man. That's why he does all this violent, atrocious, diabolical things to our people, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because that anger, that hatred is being shown, all right, through his spirit, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We have to be mindful that he had the birthright, but he sold it for some uncooked meat and lentil, so that's what it's worth. It meant nothing to him. Now he's mad about it, realizing what it was. He wants to be immortal, but he's not going to get it because now it's with us. All right, the Israelites. All right. Okay. All right. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the article. Like I said before, the link to this article will be put in the description box of the video and posted in the comments. All right. The title, once again, it says, "White man involved in killing 9 black people elected governor of South Carolina." All right. It says, on November 4th, 1890, Benjamin Ryan Tillman was elected governor of South Carolina. An outspoken white supremacist, Mr. Tillman's identity as a politician was based on racial hierarchy, a deep commitment to blocking any educational opportunity for black people, and advocating for violence against black voters. Concerning the education of black people, Mr. Tillman argued, "When you educate a Negro, you educate a candidate for the penitentiary or spoil a good field hand." Man, that's what they think of Jake. And it's ironic. This is similar to a situation. What was his name? Dylan Roof, South Carolina, also killed 9 black people and was rewarded Burger King. So this seems to be a thing. You seem to be rewarded for your atrocities against Jake. Okay, but this also goes into Somebody grab Psalm 73 and 5.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 73, and verse 5. It says, "They are not troubled as other men, neither are they plagued like other men."
So if this was a Jake who had done this, he probably, well, I won't say if, we knew through previous for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, Jake could have been just accused of something, and then killed by a mob of so-called white people. Okay, he wouldn't have gotten a jury trial, a fair trial, according to the laws of this system. He would have been killed on sight. All right. So no, they are not in trouble as other men. Jake would have paid heavily for an accusation, and then find out later he had nothing to do with it. But yet this guy is rewarded to being governor. Okay.
Precept.
Con.
It's the book of Sirach 30, verse 3. It says, "He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Before his friends he shall rejoice of him." You see, in the article, you just read, in that last portion of it, he had mentioned, he says, first, just exactly what we talked about. He says, advocating violence against black voters. So of course that was the opening, practically the opening scripture for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. It's shame for them wanting to just to even vote. It feared that they would get an upper hand. And then he says, when you educate a Negro, you educate a candidate for the penitentiary or spoil a good field hand. And actually, it's really was the reverse. That was the fear.
Yep.
It's like you educate so-called Jakes as far as how to vote or the system. Now you have someone who is going to speak up and come against the system.
Yep.
Seeing the how wicked and evil they're being. And they prefer for them to be pretty much perpetual slaves.
Yep.
So that's just scripture that came to mind.
Okay.
I got a real quick on the back of Psalm 73. It's Job chapter 21. I'm gonna start at verse 7 before it's 9. It says, "Wherefore did the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power? It says, their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. It says, their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of Yahweh upon them." All right, and that's kind of how it is, man. Until the Lord actually gets on them, man.
Yep.
They're not like the scripture just said in Psalm 73 and 5. They're not as in trouble as other men. All right, because guess what? They're currently in power, man.
Yep.
All right, so they don't have to deal with the afflictions, some of the afflictions that the nation of Israel has to go through, man. All right, that's why I said their houses are safe from fear, man, because they go out and do these things, man. And like Brother Barzal said, you go out and kill 9 people, all right, and get rewarded with a cheeseburger, man.
Yeah.
All right, but let that have been Jake. Jake would have been gunned down as soon as the police got there, man. All right. But soon come, all right, that being safe from fear, all right, is gonna be gone away, man. All right, Esau, Edom is gonna be in fear, man.
Yep.
All right, that was all.
Yeah, something.
I got a quick one. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8 and verse 11. "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." All right, and Yahweh Bashim Shai, hasn't judged the nation of Esau, majorly as a whole, just yet. So Esau, they have it in their mind that they can keep on doing all these atrocious, violent, violent things, to our people, just killing our people, man. All right, just leisurely, just killing our people, man. All right. I'm gonna read it from the top again. It says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So it's fully set in the minds of Esau, Edom, are to continue with this violence, man. Okay, because Yahweh Bashim Shai hasn't judged them all like that yet, man. All right.
God.
Precept.
Yeah.
God.
Was he? You in Job 21?
Yep.
Okay. Hold that. Verse are you still there? I'm sorry. Okay. Verses 29 and 30. But
Yep. This something that he's mentioning, just to back him up. Psalms 49 verse 11. He says, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name." And the reason I bring that up is because the brother is speaking on, they because sentence against the evil work is not executed speedily. They have the mindset that, hey, what they're doing, they're not going to be punished for, and they see that through robbery, injuries, riches gotten by the sea, right? We know that the kingdom is going to be translated from these people to another, but in their mind, they're like, hey, through all these violent dealings and things that they've done, that nothing has actually happened to them, and so they're going to keep, like even with the children of Israel, they help forth the affliction. They continue on with the affliction because they're like, hey, nothing has happened. But and like the brother just what he was saying previously, like he said, they're not in trouble as other men, but soon they're going to receive their punishment, and we're starting to see that too. When Deuteronomy 30 and 7 said these curses shall be placed upon the enemies, and then of course we know in these last times Yahweh Bashmiel Shai said he will visit this place, and we're seeing the visitation through the scriptures, through earthquakes, the sedition, the division among the people, that perverse spirit that's been mingled among the people, as it tells us, he will mingle a perverse spirit amongst the Egyptians. And we see, their downfall currently for all the things that they've done, unto the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, especially the elect of the children of Israel.
Kind of that mindset you speak of is also talked about in Psalms 10, where he says he puffeth at his enemies, and he will never be in adversity. This is that mindset of that devil, man. Like nothing's going to happen to him. All right, the Lord's got you in the trick bag. According to you still got that Job.
Yep.
Go ahead.
29 and 30, right?
Yep.
It's Job chapter 21 and verse 29. It says, "Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens?"
Yeah, and their tokens is their signs of what they do. Everything that the scriptures say that this devil does, these are the signs that were given to us. As the scriptures say, things are written aforetime for our learning. Roughly paraphrasing, that we will have hope and comfort in the scriptures. Being able to identify you is enough for us to go onto the straight path. All right. One of the reasons we go on a straight path, because we know who we're dealing with. All right.
It says that the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. And
that supports that part about them not being in trouble as other men. We get immediately judged. Jake does. Okay, immediately. Okay, but the Lord is reserving them until the day of destruction. Their downfall is going to be epic. Epic. And to have to watch us, the Israelites, be able to see the downfall of our enemies, that's going to be more painful for them. Because even though they're finding out that the people who are occupying the Holy Land right now are not the real people, they're still adamant that it's not us also, when the scriptures prove otherwise. All right?
Quick precept?
Huh?
Yeah, it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 4. It says, "The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." So, of course, we know that, the wicked, is that he's using Esau, Edom. Eventually he's going to do away with him. So he's going to use his own people, to destroy him. We understand, that third new world war is going to be happening. It's going to happen, which is going to ultimately, be the Russians, heading the destruction of the Americas, and also the place that the people are residing, which are our land, you know, in Israel. But we know that, of course, all these things that are actually happening right now, not to get too deep as far as like with the snap and the division, like the shutdowns and all of this, it's greatly affecting, you know, his people.
Yep.
What is it, Romans is it 13, where it talks about the ministers. He's used for the minister.
Oh, you doesn't bear the sword in vain?
Yeah, he doesn't bear the sword in vain. So, you know, he's using that. 2/3 of our people, you know, are going to get it. The other nations are going to receive it. And then ultimately the Lord's going to come and do away with him. You know. So, yeah, we'll get back to the article.
Yep, back to
Did
the
y'all have
article.
any? Yeah,
Y'all have anything
good.
else? Okay. Back to the article. It says, Mr. Tillman's political career began after his involvement in the 1876 Hamburg massacre, where white men rioted and killed 9 people in a predominantly black town in South Carolina. In his gubernatorial campaign, Mr. Tillman promised to keep the state's black population in a position of permanent inferiority. Jeez. In his inaugural address and throughout his administration, he emphasized white supremacy and the necessity to revoke black Americans' rights. Man. Yeah, it's the devil, man. Okay.
I gotta get to it real quick though, so I can. So, alright, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, and verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness in which they have prescribed. Alright, you know, this is a prime example of that, man. He's going to be a government elected official, and guess what? He's going to choose to keep Jake, alright, on a down and out, man. Alright? His plan was to, in the first paragraph in that article, man, he said if you educate a Negro, you pretty much getting rid of a good field hand. Alright? So hey, he was kind of getting into that position. Guess what? He was going to terrorize. He was planning to keep Jake at a lower state, man. All right. That's why it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees," man, going into a destruction unto them, man. All right, because Esau, man, it's not only the physical torment that Jake had to deal with from Esau. It was in every aspect, man.
Yep.
All right, so he has to be a dealt with, man. All right, because man, if Esau was allowed to stay in power, he would destroy everything, man.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. To your point, yeah, I was shy when I said no flesh, you know, you'll be saved. You know, to your point.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Precept I had Psalms 94 and 20, and it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?" And who's this talking about? Esau having fellowship with Jake? No. He frameth mischief by law. Okay, mischief is wickedness. All right, exactly the point of what that paragraph read, to keep us into a permanent state of inferiority. You know, that's not what Yahweh Shai intended for us. He said he has made us a peculiar nation above all nations on the earth. Okay, and you trying to keep us from being what we were created to be. Don't work that way. That just goes show that arrogance and pride that he has. You know, thinking he's as the Most High. No, you're in a trick bag. It says, verse 21, "They gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn innocent blood." Okay, through those laws, that's what they do. Exactly what that paragraph said, to keep us in a permanent state of inferiority. Okay, when that's impossible, seeing as though according to the scriptures we are the apple of the Lord's eye. Okay, we're that righteous seed; they're not. All right, we have to deal with this because of our transgressions against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But at the end of the day, that's not the way it was supposed to be. All right.
But it only makes sense. It should only make sense now to see why the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is at the bottom.
Yep.
At the lowest, even to the point of where our women were placed above us as far as a nation. You know, giving them subsidies,
Mhm.
and housing and different things. And of course, as a result, they look down upon us. But it was systematically, it was something created, just like I said, a lot of these unrighteous decrees,
Yep.
that were created to, like, and this was an example to keep us suppressed.
Mhm.
All right. Um, you would think, what man, that's living, would not want to be able to take care of their household, or to have a family and kids, you know. But that's the mindset and the projection, like bringing that out, that they like to put out there, and then you find out later on, in today's time, that the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, tend to take care of their kids
Yeah.
a lot more, if not better than these other nations.
Mhm.
You know, when afforded the right opportunity,
Yep.
and the right mindset of even the woman, that of the house as well.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. I had something back here real quick.
Yeah, let's try to finish the article.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Isaiah 3:12.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "As for my people, which are the elect, children are their oppressors." That's you, sent men, okay? Like your Van Jones, your Cory Booker's in the Senate, Hakeem Jeffries. We see y'all, man. We see y'all. All right. It says, "And women rule over them." Just to your point, they've been put above the man, taking everything out of order. You always bring up the man out of the house rule. Okay. They instituted that, made it a point to establish that the woman is the head of the household. We know, according to the scriptures, that's out of order. All right. It says, "O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths." Okay. This is out of order. Scripture said, that we're supposed to teach our sons and our sons' sons. Okay. We're supposed to be teaching the women at home. Okay. But when you give your strength to women, you destroy it, according to Proverbs 31:3. All right. So.
And all this is dealing back to, them doing the bidding,
Yep.
For Esau,
Yep.
Whether they know it or not, this was something that they systematically have put certain laws and things in place,
Mm-hmm.
to which, though they do it like a blanket statement, their whole goal is pretty much to attack the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, women, and children.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Okay, back to the article. It says, Mr. Tillman served 2 terms as governor and played a critical role in 1895 South Carolina Constitutional Convention. In order to vote under the revised Constitution, a man had to own property, pay a poll tax, pass a literacy test, and meet certain educational standards. And we know that those were some of those things were just random, that they would make up on the fly. Like, you go to the poll to get your ballot to vote, they'd have a pair of not a pair, but a jar of jelly beans sitting there, and you had to guess what number was in the jar in order to get your ballot to vote. Just bullshit. All right. It says, in intent and effect, the 1895 Constitution disenfranchised black voters and served as a model for other southern states. So here again, they're all in it together. We don't want to hear, we didn't have nothing to do with that, it wasn't us. You supported it. All right. You benefited from it. All right. Going on with the article, the last paragraph. It says, after serving as governor, Mr. Tillman was elected U.S. Senator from South Carolina in 1895 and served in this capacity for 24 years. 24 years. Definitely part of that Psalms 94:20, that we just read out. You don't have fellowship, with those who frame the mystery by law. All right. It says, throughout his tenure, he staunchly opposed black equality and women's suffrage. Okay, and that women's suffrage was the women's ability to vote, which they eventually got in 1920. But mind you, that was the so-called white woman who was afforded that opportunity in 1920. It was 45 years later that so-called under the Civil Rights Act that so-called blacks had the right to vote. And we know that that whole system is messed up. It's not for Jake. All right, we know that voting, when you go into the etymology of it, it's making a vow to a king. All right, or a ruler, which the choices that you have, should be ruling over Jake. Especially a woman, especially someone of another nation. All right, but this is what it is, being under those curses. All right. It says, Mr. Tillman's philosophy helped shape the subsequent era of oppression and abuse of black Americans throughout the South. A statue honoring Mr. Tillman still stands on the grounds of South Carolina's state capitol. All right, and that goes back to what you brought out earlier, Psalms 49:11. What they do is memorialize their wickedness. All right, and make it the standard for the rest of this world, especially America, that they have control over right now. All right, but it's going to be gone here real soon, and they know it. All right.
The last scriptures.
Yeah. Y'all got anything?
All right.
Okay. All right. So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you who say Shalom.
Shalom.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Abba.
Abba.
We got next. Shalom.